Hello, you're watching Talk Solent. I'm Shan Robins. With me discussing news and sharing their views as Business Development Manager for Verisona Law, Kevin Dye, and Chairman of the Business and Enterprise Workstream from Shaping the Future of Portsmouth, it's Stef Nienaltowski. Now, on the front page of Portsmouth's The News, children are challenged to design a trophy for the America's Cup segment that takes place off Portsmouth in July, and the final design will be turned into a trophy presented to the winning America's Cup team for that sector. It's open to anyone aged 5 to 16 from Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, and the competition closes on June the 6th. So it's quite exciting. Last year they had something like 2,000 entrants, which is amazing, isn't it? And it was won by a 6-year-old boy who designed it with the Spinnaker Tower and also a boat, whatever the boats are called.
Yachts.
Yachts, yeah. Yachts, but it's like a hovercraft, isn't it? Because it goes above the water.
Oh, really?
Pretty impressively.
Skims now, don't they?
Yes,
indeed.
Fantastic.
Have you seen it on?
No, I haven't seen it actually.
They are amazing now. The hull is completely out.
Oh, you mean the yacht? Oh, I've seen the yacht.
Yes.
I thought you meant the trophy.
Oh, the trophy. No. I haven't seen the trophy. I didn't even know there was a trophy till we saw this competition.
Yeah.
But it's a great thing to inspire children to get involved in design. I mean, and most people do spend time drawing with the children. It's kind of one of the first things you get people doing before they can read and write, isn't it?
Well, I'm not a sailor. I'm pretty much a lander, but I don't know whether you sail, Steph, at all.
I do not have any sea legs whatsoever.
No, I've only been on a yacht once, actually. It was with Dee Kafari, who was a very, very famous yachtswoman who went round the world backwards. Well, not exactly backwards, but against the tides and winds. And that was fantastic, but the bug didn't bite me. Really? Not at all. And I've lived down in this part of the world for more than 25 years now. So, but
if it had, you would have done it.
Well, absolutely. But I certainly support Portsmouth efforts to get the America's Cup down this part of the world. What a fantastic thing that would be for the region, for the whole Solent.
Well, hopefully it'll be better weather than last year, because it was a bit wet, wasn't it? And it was a bit of a washout, and one of the days they couldn't even race.
That's right, it was, which was the Saturday. I think it was the Saturday, no, or the Sunday was it. But I mean, on that, if you just now position where Portsmouth, this is the World Series, so as you say, it's sort of precursor to the America's Cup, the World Series. Bermuda, Tokyo, Stockholm, Chicago, Boston, Portsmouth. They are the 6 names that are being talked about around the world for this series. We're up there with those other 5, sort of quite, famous cities.
Places,
great.
yes.
And if someone can't find a heritage item in Portsmouth to draw into a shape, then they're doing a bad job, because there is so much history in this island to create your shape from. Spinnaker Tower obviously is one of the newer ones. But my goodness me, I mean, there's got the Square Tower, the Round Tower. There are so many, the Cathedral. There's so many iconic landmarks to give you the idea, to do that.
It should be. Yeah. I mean, it must be so hard for the judges as well to decide what are you going to, who is the winning. When they had 2,000 entries to sit and look at them all, I guess it's easy because you could be going yes, no's, maybes, yes, no, maybes, and then whittle down again.
It is difficult, and you have to disappoint, a young person somewhere along the way. I didn't win that. I remember applying for my Blue Peter badge. I never did get it.
No.
Oh, what a shame. It scarred me for life, as you can tell.
Definitely.
But I think you've got a good point, because if you've got something that's quite, black and white to check against, then, maybe the winning thing, is obvious. I think something like this, I don't know, I've never been involved in a committee, but I think it's more opinion-based.
Yes.
Something that looks,
I'd have thought,
looks like the right thing. So you're right, it is difficult, isn't it?
Cheers.
Very. Now then, coming up on Monday, it is going to be Chinese New Year, and it will be the Year of the Monkey. So in the Telegraph online, if you want to look all up about Chinese New Year, there's so much stuff on there. It really is fascinating. And I am a dragon, actually, so I'm not born for the Year of the Monkey. But we were checking you gentlemen earlier, and actually, what is it that you are?
Well, can't you tell, Shan? I'm the horse.
The horse.
Strong, white-shouldered and all that.
And you're?
I'm a woolly jumper.
You're the sheep. You're the sheep. Well, you see, this is quite exciting.
Sit closer.
Yeah, because if you were monkey, then that's the same star sign as Julius Caesar and Leonardo da Vinci. And a whole host of other people, yes. But so let's say for you, dragon. No, I'm dragon. So I'm lucky and I'm flexible, and a few other things as well. But this is the top 2. So for horse, you're adaptive and courageous and intelligent.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Stef, you're sheep, so you're tasteful, charming, and calm. Was that sound like you?
No.
Maybe we've got you in the wrong year then.
Yes, indeed.
No, but did you, the things you may or may not know, this is really incredible, because I'm sure last year I was told by, it wasn't actually a Chinese person, but it was someone that celebrates Chinese New Year that's from one of the Asian countries, and they said when it gets to New Year, they not change their underwear, they buy new underwear each year, so it's entirely new. And I just thought, well, how brilliant is that? What an excuse to go out and get rid of all your undergarments and go and get new. Do you think your wife would get away with that, Kevin?
No, I don't think so. I wish you'd warned me. That's all I would have said. Shan, but yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's a massive, massive country, China, isn't it?
Yes.
Massive population, we all know that, but it's a huge country, and we know so little about China.
Indeed. So I think in our lifetime it's opened up. But
it has a bit, yeah.
You know, certainly prior to that it hasn't. But have you two ever been to Gerrard Street in London, you know, around about the Chinese New Year? I mean, it is.
Is that the bit that's like the Chinese?
It is absolutely stunning there. I mean, the pageantry, the lights, the colour, you know, everything is just wonderful. I mean, I
guess you did go down. Have you been down there at that time of year?
Yes, we've done a couple of times. You know, because it's close to half-term holidays. It's obviously Chinese New Year's Monday the 8th now, isn't it?
Yes.
And half-term's the following week. So we've tended to go to London, you know, during half-term week, and it is still going on there, and it's just a stunning, you know, sort of pageant.
Well, it's meant to be the largest celebration of Chinese New Year outside of Asia is in London.
Is it really?
Not surprised.
I did go to see it once myself, Trafalgar Square, then on to Chinatown. It is absolutely amazing, but Chinese folk are very nice and trustworthy, very good entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
very good entrepreneurs.
They're proving that.
Well, exactly. They seem to be doing very well, don't they? But there had been some concern about a slowdown in the Chinese economy. But you were saying to me that actually they're still doing very well.
Well, I went to, strangely enough, a breakfast briefing this morning, and it included sort of commentary on the Chinese economy. It slowed down, but from super stellar to just very, very good indeed, and still growing at a rate of about 6.5%, so that's fantastic. But it just goes to show, though, how important the Chinese economy is to the rest of the world.
It's become.
Whilst we were growing up, probably, Steph, it wasn't the case, but it certainly is now.
Yes.
And quite right, too. And then there's India as well. So all these economies which used to pale into insignificance are no longer insignificant. They're massively important to the global economy.
The tiger.
You're right. I mean, if you think about the 6.8%, I think, growth that China are estimating, the UK growth today has been revised by the Bank of England just to 2.2%. Now at 6.8 and to 2.2, they're growing just over 3 times faster than Great Britain. And that's a slowdown for them. You know,
a population of 60 million in this country.
And how many, over a billion, whatever it is, indeed. But you make a good point, because again, during my lifetime, Russia, China, you know, were not buying in and certainly weren't exporting much. It was very an inward market, wasn't it? And now, of course, it's they're exporting around the world. And
well, they are. They're also buying lots of businesses. China, big Swiss purchase this week of some $45 billion.
Wow.
Yes, well,
and they do lots
huge sums of
abroad
money
as well, don't they? In some of the African economies as well. They're investing in all sorts of pipelines and all sorts of interesting things.
They are indeed, and I think there's a deal of controversy about some of their investments, because people may see that as them being able to maybe exert influence, you know, in certain areas. But you know, the fact of the matter is that they are getting things done as well. So
I mean, as far as we're concerned, because at the end of the day, you're kind of wondered about what is that impact of what looks like potentially a slowdown. How does that affect the global economy, and are we going to have some severe depression or slowdown of things ourselves here? And so are we thinking it might be okay from our limited knowledge?
Well, I think we've got reason to be optimistic still, you know, and there's always difficulties and bouncing up and down of, you know, the FTSE and all this, but that's just how it is. And I think, you know, if you're an investor or a saver or a spender, you know, you have to stay calm and not panic over these things. And I think perhaps both your speakers, or your guests, I should say, are sort of old enough to realise that things change overnight. So,
but see, for anyone that wants to know what happened with the money crash a few years ago in America, when it all went horribly wrong, which I can't remember when it was, 2008, something like that,
yes,
I think. And they can look at a movie called The Big Short. So I watched this in the cinema, and I did fall asleep, which I woke up and it was still fine. I hadn't missed too much. But for someone that wants to know what's happening and how that financing worked and what went wrong, I thought it was a very good movie in that respect. Don't know if either of you've seen that.
I haven't. We plan to. My wife Liz and I plan to go and see it, and I think it's certainly up for a number of awards. But from reading the transcript of it, it seems to simplify. It focused on 5 people who had an idea and could almost see it coming, whatever it is, and apparently it's told quite simply.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like action movies, then don't bother, because it's not that kind of movie. If you want to learn about financing at that sort of level, then yes, go in a simplified way, just go watch it, because it is good. You saw something...
Well, I saw something entirely different, dragged along by my daughters, I might say innocently, as I raised my palms to see the Quentin Tarantino film. Is it called Hateful Eight? And I think you've got to know a little bit about Quentin Tarantino before you go and see it, and it's gory.
Yes, well, I'm afraid that is all we've got time for. I've seen it myself. Yes, definitely, it is a Quentin Tarantino special. Very many thanks to today's guests, Kevin Dye and Stef Nienaltowski. Talk Solent returns tomorrow at the same time. Goodbye.